needed to know everybody. All the ones over here, they saw us, everybody, they never say anything.
Okay, thanks for letting me know that, because I wasn't aware of that. Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I just need to find out why the park thinks it's okay to saturate everybody into one little area.
We're not trying to saturate. There's areas all around the park.
Yeah, but it's like y'all have taken away from the heaviest foot traffic and they're telling everybody that they have to be...
we're just trying to disperse everybody in different locations.
You're saying we can't be here like
Well, that's what I was told, and then what I was told is changed the next day. Somebody told me that another ranger the next day said they could set up here. And I was told to move everyone where the First Amendment signs were. That's what I was told by my manager.
Okay, you signed an oath to protect the First Amendment, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so free speech is allowed anywhere in the United States. If I wanted to walk up and down this with a picket sign,
that's walking, sir.
Yeah, and if I want to stand here with a picket sign, I have more than enough rights to do that. Yeah, then so does a busker. Yes, so is this. So is that. So is that. All these things.
It's the tabling and the location.
It doesn't matter. The table, it does not.
We're on the lawn over here. So we're trying to keep people off the lawn. And then what happens? All of a sudden we're blocking our view of somebody wants to take.
You see this strip all the way down where the road where this car is parked? It's a walkway. Cars aren't supposed to be on a walkway. Being a ranger doesn't give you a right to pull your car on a walkway, yet it's on a walkway right now. And yet y'all are telling us we can't be on that walkway that way when I have seen other entities set up on that walkway and it's perfectly allowed.
That was previously. I'm just letting you know what my management team has told me.
And I'm trying to get to the bottom of this because I'm the one that fights for First Amendment rights around here. And y'all keep screwing over First Amendment rights, which, you know, y'all are bound to protect the First Amendment, not some city code.
Thank you, sir. Hi.
Look at that. He knows he's bound to protect it, so instead of having the conversation, he walks away. So we can't set up here now? That's what's going on?
The rules are literally different every day.
Rules.
I don't know where those rules are coming from or who's making them, or if they're each of them just determining what they think the rules should be. Because one ranger will say one thing, the next day a different ranger will say something different. There's no consistency at all. And it's like they're just figuring it out, but they don't have anything to back it up for all these rules in there.
And then, like, obviously, besides this one area right here, like everywhere else they want us to be isn't very foot traffic-y.
No, it's not in a good spot. Like even, I was set up down there near that fountain, and right at the end of the Prado strip, I was set up and I was told I was blocking an emergency path, which was pretty debatable.
But where you can see this park ranger truck just parked right in the road.
Right. So I was threatened with a citation if I didn't move 10 feet over, which of course was off the path, which makes a huge difference for how much business I can do. Location is huge, and when people have to like deviate from the path they're walking on, like the business is way less. And this is by far the most profitable, busiest part of the park. And first they cut off the Prado on the grass where they had told us we had the First Amendment zone for about a year, and we can't be there. Then they were kind of allowing us to be here, now we can't be here. It's just changing rules every day. One ranger will say one thing, another ranger will show up and threaten a citation if you don't move for what you were told you could do the previous day, or even the same day. So there's no consistency to it. There's no rhyme or reason other than what they think is...
It looks kind of like, because of the way they got it set up, everybody's got to get out here butt-ass early in the morning to get their spot.
And we have been like between 6 to 8.
That's ridiculous. My spot was already gone at 5:30 this morning. That's why I'm over here.
Yeah.
I was scouting to find... But I wanted to let everybody else set up, so I didn't do the same to somebody else that was done to me today, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they even want us to set up. Like, there was a spot near the fig tree down there near the Spanish village. Apparently that's not a spot anymore because that's on the grass.
Is there still a sign over there?
No, I think they took it down before they installed the new sign. Like there's 4 signs down there where those tents are. There's one over here. And that tree, which is
And so he just got it.
pretty out of the way.
Well, yeah,
They
I
haven't
mean,
specified like how many people can set up or the size of the area.
so yeah, that's like terrible area to be.
Yeah.
Like you want to be where the main foot. Like, okay, you want to keep us off this? Well, let's be around the fountain. There's a ton of foot traffic around it. Same way with the other fountain.
Yeah.
Tons of room.
Would you want to see the sign over there?
Yeah, let's go look at it.
Did you already say don't sit up here? Yeah.
I mean, the only way we can stop this is if we all take tickets and go to court about it. So they want everybody cramped up over in this little corner.
I guess.
How do you know how many people are supposed to be in this space? Just how many ever can fit?
They said maybe 2 or 3, but I mean, they were saying something similar to down there before, and then they allowed more people, and then the next day they allowed less. Like, it's just always changing. So, I'm sure if too many people were here, they'd be like, now you're blocking the entrance to the science center, you can't do that. Very, very arbitrary.
Looks that way.
Like they've just been saying, like, we can determine the time, place, and manner of why we think you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, but they have to have it narrowly. It has to be in the code and it has to be very narrow, not broad. The moment it's broad, the code is unconstitutional and they cannot apply the code.
Jason, you all right? Park ranger checking on your welfare. You all right, sir?
So I guess I'll walk. Or you want to show me some stuff, or?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome. Because I don't really know, other than what y'all are posting, I don't know what's going on. I've been fighting 3 battles.
Yeah.
Been fighting here, been fighting the beaches, and been fighting the port.
So there's a sign there, right?
Okay.
Another one behind the ATM over there. That's 2 spots. Another one there. And another one here. Doesn't
Okay.
actually mean 4 spots. It's so random. Like I asked, like, can you show me a map of the exact area that this zone is considered? You know, and they don't have that yet. They said they're working with Ruiz through the city to determine it. So basically, they don't have anything.
They don't have anything, so they can't enforce that. That's total bullshit.
Yeah. One day they'll be like, yeah, we're just giving like warnings today of what you're not allowed to do. Like, you're okay today, but tomorrow a different ranger will say something different, which is true. A different ranger will say something today. I set up here, right here, off the path, off the grass. I was told by a ranger named Ivy, who I'd never seen before, who said, I'm not going to say you can't be here, but another ranger might say you can't be here. I'm like, so why are you saying that then? Like, do you not know if I can be here? What's the reason for that? Like, how big is the zone? There's a sign over here. This is normally like the big show act area, so a lot of magicians, musicians will set up here. The breakdance show. So here's a sign. Does it say like 100 foot square from here, like 1,000 foot square? Doesn't say anything about actually how big the space is.
Yeah.
It's just this is the general area, and then they can determine, well, I think this is the boundary.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Good morning. And of course, the Hannah people already got this spot too. What, double?
Double, same family.
And doesn't he have a spot down there too?
Yeah, they had their tents here for like an hour, just empty, when I got here before they even showed up.
See, that's not first come, first serve. If you're not going to hang out with your shit, That
Yeah.
doesn't count.
I saw like another tent up there yesterday where it was empty, but a homeless guy was sleeping there to save the spot.
And the sign, where's
So
the sign
sign's
here?
over there, right?
Okay.
So I was told I had to be here.
Behind this so nobody can see you.
Yeah, being blocked from there. I was over here. This was a good spot. As soon as people come down the strip, they see me. The previous day I was set up over there, and they said, well, you can be here now, but the next day, you know, we don't want you right next to the fire lane. We want you down that way. Like, okay, can you show me?
I don't see any fire lanes over there on the fountain right here. Did they remove the fire lane there?
I asked, are we allowed to set up near the fountain? They said, well, that's, you know, part of the historic area. We don't want you blocking the view of it. But then, like, magicians and show acts are set up right there, and I don't know if the rangers just weren't here to harass them. But as far as I know, they weren't kicked out. Over here, I was saying, so are you allowing us to be on the fire lane? Because you said you can't be on that fire lane. You can't be on the fire lane on the Prado. Where's the consistency?
Yeah,
The
record.
Ranger Z said, yeah, we want you to be set up near the sign. I'm like, well, are we allowed to be right up against the red? It says fire lane. It says fire lane over there too. He said you don't want us there because that's the fire lane. You want an emergency vehicle to be able to go this way towards the Timken Art Museum. The fire lane's also on the whole Prado strip. I'm like, are we allowed to actually be on the red fire lane, or do we have to be like 10 feet away? And after I phrased it like that, he's like, yeah, you should be like 10, 15 feet away. I'm like, well, that just puts us right over here, where if I'm set up on a 10 foot, that's like barely 10 feet away. So we're supposed to be here, but also this is dead end because this whole walkway from the botanical building's cut off. So nobody's gonna come over here. A few people will, but it's like, it's off the main traffic, it's away from the middle, it's not a good spot. So I've heard conflicting things about whether we're allowed to be there on the corner or not. I asked, can we be down there? And they said, no, we want you basically from here, like between the planters.
So they want you out of the way where people can't
They want us out
see
of
you
the
and
way.
engage you.
Sure. I asked, so are we allowed to set up out there? He's like, we prefer if you're over here. Am I allowed to be out there? We prefer if you're over here. It's like, we're just trying to educate you today. I'm like, well, then I'm asking questions, so why can't you give me like an answer for these questions if you're trying to educate? And it's just so arbitrary. So they said like they want it to be a fire lane. Sure, okay, a fire lane from the Prado, and then be able to knock down those white cones over there to be able to get to that street, or be able to go down this way. Okay, makes sense, but you know, a vehicle can move around. If it can't get this way, it can still go that way and come around.
So how big would you say a fire truck is?
Probably 10 feet wide.
10 feet wide? Let's just give it an extra 5 feet just for
Okay, sure.
shits and giggles. So let's look at this walkway here. Reasonably based on that truck there, that truck's about 8 or 9 feet wide at least. Could look up what a Ford Ranger is.
Yeah.
Each one of these spaces is at least 10 foot wide, probably more. Like if you look at these lines here, so 10, 20, 30, 40 feet. So a fire truck could easily get down one half of this and there still be plenty of room for foot traffic and buskers if buskers were all lined up on these squares. So I do not see where the government's public safety is concerned here. Matter of fact, it's not, there's no truth to it. Whatever they're saying is false, and I'll have to bring a measurement foot each crack. So yeah, about 30 feet.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a reasonable argument to say you don't want tents set up kind of in a way where it's permanent until you have to like lift it up. If there's an emergency, sure. But I've also heard a ranger say, well, you can be like 3 feet out from the curb. But then another ranger's like, no, you can't do that. So it's just conflicting statements all the time. But then let's say they're going down this way, They need to get by down this way. I heard that these tables are actually like cemented down or screwed down, so maybe they can't get around. But if they, go out this way and go around this way, they could totally get around me if I'm set up onto that plane like a 10-footer. But they said that I was obscuring free movement, and were going to give me a citation fee right there. Clearly, an emergency vehicle could get by.
And
So
what free movement? Free movement of the people?
Free movement of emergency vehicles.
Yeah,
Let's see.
that doesn't make sense.
He threatened me with the citation. He was going to write it out. If I'd been able to record audio, I would have just taken the ticket. But
Yeah.
I didn't. I wanted to have better evidence. So he said it was code B25, obstructing free movement.
Okay, I'll have to look that
This
up.
whole area seems like it would be a pretty good spot for a lot of buskers to set up. We don't have to be all packed against each other. There can still be a clear enough path for an emergency vehicle to get through. Oh, at the end of the day, I believe it was last Saturday, I saw one of the rangers, I believe Alex, in a ranger truck leading the way with a couple emergency vehicles behind him. It looked like they were doing a run through just to make sure they could get through, but also as kind of like a warning of hey, we're trying to use this as our way of saying you can't be here. So they went slowly down this way, they went out to the street and went down, and there was nobody blocking it, but they were definitely
They are making
trying
a
to use
point.
that, making a point, and just trying to show that they can get through. There's not even close to any obstruction of being able to do that.
Nice to see you again. I don't know if you remember me.
I remember you, yeah.
Park Ranger Behar, badge number 34, ID 238847 with the City of San Diego Parks Department. How are you doing this morning?
Doing okay?
Very well. Do you mind if I go over there and have a word with you?
Sure, we can have a word over here.
How are you this morning?
I'm all right. A little frustrated with how
I'm sorry to hear that.
the city and how park rangers are handling First Amendment rights.
Okay. You're more than allowed to have your thoughts and all that stuff. And we want to encourage First Amendment here in Balboa Park. And so what we recently have done is we've basically created First Amendment areas, and the one was right over here, and then there's quite a few other down this way. Unfortunately, we don't have any publications at this point. We will in the future. And it's what we're asking the folks that want to participate and enjoy the park and for its natural intrinsic values and its atmosphere, is to assist us with their understanding of what we can do, right? What we can do legally, right? And one of the things that we are doing, right, and it's what we can do is we do time, place, right?
I'm fully aware
and
of time,
manner,
place, manner,
right?
and
so is all we're addressing at this point is place, right? There's if you so desire to come here at 3 o'clock in the morning and do that, you're more than welcome to. We're not saying manner, right? At this point, no one's specifying any manner, and all we're doing is we're identifying place.
And so, time, place, and manner restrictions, you have to have sufficient government written code
Right.
to enforce that. Number two is that anywhere, and I mean anywhere, that someone can walk down the street and protest, or any member of the public is allowed to be, so is a busker, an artist, or any other First Amendment right activity. And I've already caught selective enforcement on this. You allow some people to be in places that you don't allow others. And that right there is enough evidence for me to shut down any legalities that y'all have.
Right.
And then furthermore, you as police officers or as rangers signed an oath of office, correct?
Correct. We're park rangers, public officers. with the
Okay,
CDC.
public officers, park rangers, you signed an oath of office
Yes, sir.
to protect the First Amendment.
Yes, sir.
By telling people that this code or that code says this or that on the First Amendment, you're not even looking at the actual First Amendment stuff.
I think the conversation that you're wanting to have, right, is with at a more litigious level, right?
And I'm trying to have that conversation at the higher level, and people are just shutting me down because they don't want to hear it.
And it's and I want to encourage you to have that conversation and continue to have that conversation.
But I also have to have it with you, because
Right.
the moment
Right.
you're aware that you signed an oath in office and then
Right.
you do anything that violates rights, you now just killed your qualified immunity.
That's not what I'm acknowledging.
Okay.
Like I'm saying, your communication, right? It has a lot of legal connotation to it, and you have to understand. I'm a public official. I'm not a lawyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not portraying myself other than the position that I have. Does that make sense?
I'm aware of that, but
And so what I am being directed to do via the Parks Department.
so you're telling me, or you're following orders?
Correct.
Okay.
I thought
Is-
your guys'
is-
job
is-
was to protect the squirrels.
Is right now I'm trying to educate everyone, and I know that and we've had to go above and beyond sometimes to try and educate folks, right?
But are you educated in everything?
Like I just said, I'm
Then
not
how
a-
can you educate
like I
everyone
just
else
said,
if you
I'm-
don't
I'm
know
not a
what to
lawyer.
educate?
I'm not a lawyer. I'm just having a conversation with you because I am going to ask everyone else that is here to move so that there is consistency.
Where
with
the
it.
hell are we going to set up though? Because you told us you couldn't set up on the grass.
Well, like I was explaining earlier.
I've already seen the First Amendment zones. They're
And then
far
there's that
away
protect
from the
the
general
public.
public traffic, which makes them a violation of First Amendment rights.
Like I'm saying.
And I am going to refuse. If you want to write me a ticket, please do, so I can go ahead and extradite this to court.
Well, I think that is the appropriate place to have that conversation. That's kind of what I was alluding to.
And when I have that conversation in court, I'm going to bring up that you made it very clear you're aware of rights and everything, and you didn't even bother to look it up, to look into the laws and see what kind of.
Like I'm saying, I'm only enforcing, right?
But you're-
what is black and white and what is on our municipal code.
But
right?
you have a order to follow as far as the Constitution goes, and you may not step over that right. Any law that tells you to step over that right is a violation of your oath of office. Now, you can get in trouble for standing up against that, but you, as an individual human being, are now aware of that, and if you choose to take a step further, that is anything considered a violation of First Amendment, which, by the way, even talking to me about this right now, stopping me from engaging in my expressive activity to talk.
Technically, we're having a consensual contact at this point, right? I asked you if you wanted this to talk.
Well, I mean, y'all, you came over here like to basically enforce a rule that you've been told.
I'm dressed like this, right? And this contact is more educational than enforcement. Would you agree?
I mean,
I'm going.
are you willing to educate yourself and learn more?
Well,
Or are you just going to do what people tell you to do and then step on rights?
Well, like I'm saying, right? I'm not a lawyer. I'm a public officer. I'm a park ranger with the city of San Diego, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have what knowledge I have in that position, right? And I consider myself educated in that position, right? But at no point in time am I representing myself as a court, right? As a higher entity. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to accommodate what you folks want, right? As I'm trying to mediate what
But
it is that you want.
y'all aren't accommodating us.
I know,
You're
but
stepping on our rights left and right.
When you say we, right?
I mean the
get it.
park
I'm
rangers
talking
and the
to you.
park as an entity, because the city is following through everywhere else.
And like I'm saying, I understand that. That's your, at this point, I would say professional opinion, right? That's your professional opinion.
I have done enough research. I've talked to enough people in the higher up fields that I can already see that y'all are squishing people into tiny little areas far away from the foot. Maybe that's got foot traffic, but over there, nobody walks over there. Very few people walk over there.
This is the identified area right over here.
I know, and
Right? And
it has to be where.
and it's first come, first serve. I'll leave you at that. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Well,
6 other people.
if you're going to write me a ticket, write me a ticket. If not,
Fine,
then
sir.
there's really nothing else to talk about, is there?
If that's where this needs to go and that's what needs to happen, then
Yeah, because like we're in a First Amendment zone. This has been, the whole area has been designated First Amendment, even though the United States is a First Amendment zone.
Fair enough, sir. I'm going to converse with the rest of these folks and then we'll
Okay.
figure out what to do, okay?
All right.
All right, sir. Have a good day.
what I'm going to say is that I'm a Reiki master. And everything that I make is Reiki. It's a form of healing. So it's like energy medicine. So it's also a good too. So it's like Reiki.
Are you going to stay or are you leaving?
Wanna stay for today?
Nice.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
You don't have to. Like, it's my fight. Anybody else wants to not fight, they don't have to. But you know, the more people that's in solidarity with it, the better.
By the way, this is Joey. Joey, this is Anna.
Nice to meet you.
Just for knowledge, just for understanding. Anyone that is providing legal information for you to actually understand whether they are educated individuals or if they are actually a board certified lawyer. Okay, so just be careful who you're talking to, what their credentials are, what their qualifications are, before you actually take something that's legal advice.
It's funny because I didn't give her legal advice at all. I said it's up to her if she wants to stay or not. Look at you policing whether or not I'm a lawyer now.
Wait, I have some questions for you before you walk away. I have
I'm going to continue on. You're welcome.
Wait.
I'll come back and talk to you. There's
But you can harass other people.
like I'm saying, you're welcome to follow me and
Okay,
record as
so
well.
am I sitting on the grass? No. Am I punching a
Hi, sir.
tree?
How are you
No.
this morning?
I'm yelling, not yelling at a
I don't know
squirrel.
if you remember me, but I used to hate Square Park. I think very hard to see this. And so what I'm attempting to do is just to educate you first
Okay.
before we actually do anything.
Okay.
I know
Can you talk a little louder? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry?
Can you talk a little louder? I can't
That's
really hear
generally
you.
that's generally the volume of my voice.
Okay. My ears are shot. I just went to a concert.
It's not like you. I've been working here for the last few years. So I'll try.
Okay.
I'll do my best. I can get a little closer, or I can do whatever the case may be. Is I'm trying to educate everyone as far as like what the Parks Department can do directing us to do.
But the Parks Department has been directing you to do
Yes,
this.
awesome. Right. And one thing that we've been directed to do is to establish through our public office to establish First Amendment areas. I think I've known you at least for the last 13 years, sure, almost the entire time that I've been here. And I remember from the entertainment programming side of the
That's right.
I think I have some sort of hopefully some sort of technology
You enforce things what?
equitably.
Equitably?
Like I've always been known to have conversations with people and talk to people before I actually whether that's your recollection or not, that's generally how I operate. And then that's generally how we operate as park rangers. As you can see in there. And so what we're trying to accomplish here is two things.
Okay.
Is we're trying to establish basically the areas where you can set up, right? And if you remember correctly, even with the entertainment program we used to have, there was like time, place, right? And people were just so that's there. So the only thing that we're creating is a place. So the only thing that we're regulating is a place. And so we've identified multiple locations, over 20 locations where people first come, first serve, to come and set up and basically participate.
Have you identified?
So you're doing that now?
Yes, sir.
Over 20 places where who is allowed to set up?
Where folks like yourself that want to express themselves artistically,
Okay. You mean First Amendment areas?
and or spiritually,
Sure.
will have those areas that you can set up. Does that make sense? Are you following me as far as that?
Yes. And where are we not allowed to set up?
Unfortunately, an area that we're not allowed to set up are areas outside of those areas.
How big is that area?
As far as my knowledge, I believe the area is 10 by 10.
10 by, do you have a map to show?
Unfortunately, at this point, we don't have any complications to offer.
How do I know you're not just making it up?
Well,
As you go.
right. Fair question.
Because I asked last week, how big is the first one? And he was like, somewhere near the sun. I'm like, well, 10 feet away, 100 feet away.
Yeah.
There was no clarity on it. It was very vague.
Like I'm saying, I understand that, and a lot of the publications that we will have are
There's a really good coffee cart by the visitor center, so you can go all the way down.
My booth is right here.
And then take a left into the hallway.
and
It's like right around the corner.
where do we leave off?
I was asking about like the amount of space
Yes.
delegated to supposed First Amendment zone.
2 years, one brand.
Either is try
Because I would like to interject whenever I can.
You're more than welcome to.
on the right side of the water fountain, there's both cameras and tickets. I haven't tried there, but I've heard it's
Be able to hold
Two conversations.
two conversations at
Well,
one
there's
time.
three. There's two people. You can answer his question, then you can answer my question. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'm going to talk to this gentleman if he would like to interrupt.
I'm not going to interrupt them. I just want to. I want to interject a couple things. You know, I mean, that's all.
I'm talking to you. Okay, so
I'm okay with that.
okay. No, I'm not talking to you. How are you today?
I'm excellent.
So unfortunately, how I've been starting out the
Mike's not even picking up a word he's saying.
I think I spoke to you the other day that we're going to start that.
You've never spoken to me.
Oh, we had the same conversation in the same way.
You have never spoken to me.
Yes, sir, I have.
No, you haven't.
Well, then
If you have, you would have these two guys right. You have, I know for a fact. The only person I spoke to was the gentleman last week, and the only person that I spoke to this morning was the gentleman from last week as well.
Fair enough.
But my question is to you. I was set up here yesterday.
okay.
I was up here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And today, you guys just decided to change the rules again. It's just like every ranger has a different rule. And for me, as
This isn't a question. This is
my
you
question,
doing
no, I'm getting to
information.
my question. My question is to you, why does every ranger have a different set of strict rules? Why is that? Because every single ranger that come up to me literally have a different rule. Or I would not have been set up here yesterday. I set up here yesterday again. I've been here on purpose to make a statement every single day. And you guys change the rules. And it's not fair for people who are trying to make an honest living, who pay your salary as taxpayers. You're a civil servant. And your bosses are civil servants. And you guys forget that. As a taxpayer, as a quarterly
is there a
taxpayer,
question,
I would
though?
like to know
Is there-
why is there a rule for every ranger? That's my question.
Okay. I can answer that.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I have to answer that because I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know why people say
That-
different things.
that is not
Yeah.
fair for
And
us
and-
as human beings and as people who pay
If
bills.
you're going to talk over me,
No,
then-
I'm not. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me know when you finish.
And sometimes, right, I think what is delivered may be interpreted differently. I know we've all been directed in the same thing of how we're going to deliver this. Same thing, what we should be saying should be said consistently. What I'm saying is based off of my chain of command, what my chain of command is directed, how for me to communicate with folks, right? That's basically what's going on. One of the supervisors that's assigned to this, I talked to you the other day, right? Whether you decide whatever, like
I would remember you.
okay, fair enough.
I have a question when you get done with him.
And like I'm saying, if you have interpreted things differently, I apologize. Right? If the conveyance that we've been delivering has been inconsistent, which has led everyone to interpret things differently, I do apologize for that. Because ultimately, even though we're public officers and park rangers, we're still human. I'm not a machine. I don't have pre-programmed speech, right? I have to learn speech and I have to deliver that in an ethical, transparent manner.
I have to use their free things.
Sure, it might be open to interpretation, but what I'm trying to do to everyone, it seems like everyone has a vested interest in this location is what I will say with absolute clarity is that we, i.e. me, right, and we, the park ranger public officers that work here in Balboa Park, have been instructed, right, to enforce and educate predominantly the areas that we have designated, right? And I understand we'll have publications in the future. This is the hardest part, is to actually communicate a lot of this stuff.
Can you tell me what you're going off of right now then, if there's nothing published?
Well, like,
Orders.
Well, like I'm saying, like I have a chain of command that I report to. That chain of command educates me, right? And then I deliver that information. Does that make sense? And so what we have is we have designated areas that we have designated, right? They're all throughout the park. And I do apologize, we don't have the publication. We will in the future. Even that being said, the City of San Diego and the Parks Department has the ability to designate time, place, and manner. And so
And that's where my question comes in.
and that's what we're doing is we're designating place, right? And the vessel, right, the map, is basically me. Is basically my colleagues. And believe me, we're doing
This is a long question. You're going to another question, to another question, another question. You're answering all these questions yourself without us asking questions. We should be asking questions. You're not. We understand. My point is, there's no map. Okay. A, there's no map.
I agree.
B, there's no notice. You cannot just come up to somebody and say, "Hey, you cannot sit up here today. You sit up here yesterday." Okay, please don't interrupt me. You sit up here yesterday, right? But today you can't. You cannot do that. You have to give us, as human beings, somewhat of a notice, somewhat of a idea of what to do and readjust, and just spring it up us on like that. That is not
that's
fair.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
But no, you are telling us that we have to move.
Well,
that's what you're telling us.
Correct.
But you're not giving us a notice to say, okay, this date you have to move.
Right.
You tell us we have to move today, which is pure.
It's arbitrary.
Pure overreach on your part, and overreach on your boss's part and their boss's part. Because we are human beings, and we are the people.
Like I said,
I believe that
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best, right, to arbitrate things. Does that make sense? I'm doing my best. At no point in time have I said, "Hey, you're blocking the sidewalk, or you're selling whatever. I'm going to issue a citation because I'm making you." Right? That's not what I'm doing. I'm taking this is difficult. I'm trying to talk to you as a human, human to human.
Yes.
And I'm trying to tell you, right, what the process is, like what it is that we're doing.
But you have to give us the notice. You just
There's more than that. There's more than that.
Unfortunately, I don't have that information, and so my notice, right, is basically here and now.
From when to when do we have to move?
Like
today?
I'm saying, I don't have that information. I don't.
Do you have the authority to say what the rules are without a backing code or law to source it?
Well, like I'm saying, it's time, place, and manner.
So
But is it in the
you're able
code?
to specifically
Is it in the
do-
code? If it is, please
able
show us the
to,
code.
These are first
decide
amendment. We're
what you
talking
think
about
Sure.
time, place, and
religious.
manner
We're
is.
talking about
Absolutely.
freedom of speech. We're talking about what this country's built on. I am a veteran.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm a college graduate.
I would
veteran.
like
I
to
don't
see the
understand
code
what's
because
going
you're
on.
saying
When you
that
walk
it's
in,
time,
look at
place,
that
and
passed
manner.
out over here. Look, zoom in. Passed over here. Sleeping over here. OD, and you guys are not doing anything. There's 1, 2, how many? 3, 4 rangers here, and you guys are walking around. Look over there. There's urine. There's feces over there. Please take care of those people
Like I'm doing-
first, and then come to us.
like I'm
come
saying.
come. Stop
Hang on, man.
harassing honest, hard-working people, and
I
take
don't-
care of the real
I
part.
don't know your name, or else I would address you by your first name.
Just call me sir.
Sir.
Yes.
What I would tell you is that I'm giving you notice, right? I'm not enforcing it right now.
How long is our notice good for? A week, 2 weeks, a
I'm
month?
giving you notice as of now.
So tomorrow is going to be different. Tomorrow I can't sit up here. That's not.
Okay, I have a couple questions. Let me ask them real
He's
quick.
been waiting to ask some questions the whole time.
I'm giving
Okay.
notice as of now.
Yes.
Right. That this area is not within the areas that we've designated.
I have limited battery.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm getting anxious. Okay.
Yeah.
So, question one.
If you want to counsel and you want to have a group conversation with a committee, that's not what's happening here. I'm doing my business. I still have more people to
Yeah, well, I am filming you and I am conducting my own investigation. So, you don't have to be rude to me.
Well, can you
I have two. No, I don't. I don't have to leave you alone. I can follow you around.
More than welcome.
But I have two questions. All you have to do is answer them and I'll leave you alone. Just two questions.
Hi, ma'am. How are you today?
Waiting to ask you a question, isn't that?
Yeah, I've been waiting this whole time.
Good to see you. This is you too. Good, sir. How are you today? Excellent. And so, kind of what I've been explaining to these folks, I know I've talked to you before in the past,
I just want to burn up my battery.
Yeah. What we have designated is we have areas that we've designated. Okay. I have that. Yeah, I know that's here. I apologize. This week, is that this area, specifically this walkway here, that's the only set up. There's 20 some odd other areas that are set up throughout the park. That first come, first served. We encourage everyone to go to those areas, right, to see exactly what it is that they're doing. Unfortunately, we decided not to. In the future, I don't know what the future entails, right? Whether that's later today, tomorrow, next week, we'll be enforcing the ordinance that we can enforce.
That map that you spoke about, where can we get that map?
And like I'm saying, I do apologize. I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of what I've been telling everyone is I don't have any publications. What we've decided to do is basically try and educate people verbally, right? Educate them basically through speech, through communication generally. And so that's kind of what
They call the mayor, they bombard the mayor and try to get a meeting, like an emergency meeting in city council, because they can't pass an ordinance
I'm willing to come out
without involving all the people and giving them a chance to speak about it.
I'm not hiding. I have nothing to try and hide. I do realize, right, that this is all of a sudden. Yep. But I'm trying to do it at the time. It's been like the last, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks having this conversation. So if you do decide to stay here, you decide to stay here. If you do fall under some other ordinances that we will enforce, right, then you're doing that alone on your own or your own condition. Does that make sense?
I understand.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Oh, yes, sir.
I'm wondering, do you have the legal authority to at any moment say, I'm determining this is not the time, place, or manner for you to be able to stop doing this thing? If a different ranger says something different, is it up to you to decide how you're going to...
I don't understand the context of your question, so...
I'm asking that because different rangers have said, I'm not going to say you can't be here, but a different ranger might say...
We talked this morning.
So you don't want to read the law. Thank you for catching evidence.
So you don't want to read the actual city code?
Like I'm saying...
I have city code right here.
City code, we have court cases proving our
I
law.
apologize for breaking up our conversation. It was enjoyable talking. I'm good.
He's ignoring us.
Yeah, I know. Are you going to help that guy?
Yes.
They're all worried about us. There's a guy freaking overdosing over here, and they're not worried about him.
That's something that happened. Like I'm saying, that's something that's something that I think that's something that I'll bring up. Well, he's not my partner. Certainly. Like I'm saying, we'll talk to this gentleman. The conversation with this gentleman is basically what I want to bring up.
Appreciate it because it's not. I don't want to see a phone call in the morning. That happened a while back, and you know what happened? The gun ended up being pulled on me. 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's unfortunate.
And I don't want that. Somebody pulled out a gun on me. These 2 guys were waiting for me. It's just not. It's an escalate. That's not my sense. And I'd appreciate some kind of clarity. A map would be really helpful. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, if you can give us a map of all those 25 spots, that'd be great.
So for like 30 minutes, they all sat here and talked to us and let him sit there like that. I don't need to zoom in. Like, I'm not trying to hide his identity, but he looks like he's nodded out.
You can't see his face.
But yeah, he's been sitting there like that for at least an hour. Oh, 3 hours?
Since I've been here.
I'm gonna go see if he's okay because they're just staring at him.
Literally wasted like almost an hour of time while this guy could be freaking overdosing. And now, after we said something to him, now they want to freaking help him. If it was a life and death matter, this poor guy would be dead. Because he's not dead. See, over back where the First Amendment sign actually is, there's not a whole lot of foot traffic activity. Not really a whole lot of space for people. I mean, there's no one over there. Like, people are walking this way and that way. And then we'll talk about how the rangers are selectively enforcing things. It's like they don't want us here along the sidewalk, but don't see them now. Apparently for these kinds of performers, they're okay over here. But art and other First Amendment stuff is not allowed over here. I don't really get how they can enforce one thing.
There it is, Lucas's card. That was like 5 years of my life.
Not another.
Man, I could have gone to medical school.